It's a reason why I got this poster. It's no coincidence that I got this poster and this man out here, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. That's what we do. That's what we do. Yes, sir. For the whole year, we are going to talk our talk because there were so many doubters. It was so many people saying that this guy couldn't do it, that this team couldn't do it, that us Eagles fans, us folks from Philly were being homers. No, we're trying to tell you the truth. We're trying to tell you what happened. It's a reason why we said the Eagles are going to win by 2 scores. It's a reason why we said they have a much better chance of beating the Chiefs comfortably than going out here and winning a close game. And they put belt to ass just like that. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Share with a friend and share with a friend. It is Real Talk with MJ. And let's get right into it. Now, I'm going to start this off by talking about my guy, Jalen freaking Hurts. Jalen Hurts made history. He did. Jalen Hurts made history, yo. And you cannot understate how big this is on Black History Month. On Black History Month, Jalen Hurts essentially became the first dual threat quarterback, brother as well, to win the Super Bowl and get Super Bowl MVP honors. We know that Russell Wilson won, but he ain't get MVP. And Jalen Hurts is the only guy that has consecutively ran for over 600 yards in 4 seasons and win Super Bowl MVP. So I know why they hate the man. I know why they say he couldn't do it. He's not this, he's not that, because they've never seen it before. They've seen traditional pocket passers. That's why they glaze Justin Herbert. That's why they glaze Jordan Love. That's why they were so quick to glaze Dak Prescott after his season last year. But I'm here to tell you today, I am here to tell you today that Jalen Hurts made history on Black History Month, becoming the first dual threat quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP and hoist that Lombardi trophy. This is history. This is Black history. This is NFL history. And again, just because we can't, wait, just because we don't mean that we can't. Just because we don't mean that we can't. And Jalen Hurts proved that on the biggest stage. We got to talk about the records that this man broke in the Super Bowl. Most total touchdowns in 2 Super Bowl starts. He got 7. 6th player all time with 3 touchdowns in multiple Super Bowls. 2nd quarterback with 3 touchdowns and a 70% completion percentage, joining Tom Brady. Not too bad for a running back. And broke his own record for most rushing yards in Super Bowl history. So I will bring this back, and I have another one. Jalen Hurts and Joe Montana are in this elite club of the only quarterbacks to put up 35 plus points in multiple Super Bowls. Multiple. Joe freaking Montana. And they were so quick to say that Patrick Mahomes is over Joe Montana. Nah, man. But it ain't a coincidence that in the NFC Championship and in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts has his best performance. It's not a coincidence. And guys like Justin Herbert and Jared Goff and Jordan Love, they might go out here and have a phenomenal day in September, a phenomenal stretch in October and November. But who do you trust when all the chips are on the line and game for your life? Matter of fact, I don't even care about those quarterbacks. I don't care about those quarterbacks because Hurts is already leaps and bounds over them. But there's been talk about there's a big 4 with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. It's not a big 4. It's a big 2. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Jalen Hurts. Super Bowl champions, Super Bowl champions, and Super Bowl MVPs. That's what it is. Now, if you want to broaden it out to elite quarterbacks, if you want to say a big four, just to for the sake of conversation, if you want to say a big four, it would be Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Look, that's if you want to say a big four, that's the big four. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Joe Burrow isn't in that big four. His rise to fame is beating Mahomes in the playoffs and losing in the Super Bowl. He has no MVPs. He has no championships. He has no Super Bowl MVPs. And again, his only claim to fame is putting up gaudy stats and beating Mahomes en route to losing in the Super Bowl. That's what it is. So you can bring up hypotheticals of, well, if Joe Burrow had the Eagles offense, oh, well, if Joe Burrow had the Eagles defense, oh, if Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, if they had this Eagles roster, when you start your argument with if, you lost, and I got to just laugh at you because I deal in fact. I deal in what has happened, and I deal with Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes every time they've faced each other, and he has a winning record against him. Yeah, and a guy in Steve Spagnuolo that was talked about as the best DC of this generation, and he should be a Hall of Famer, and his defense is amazing, and this Chiefs defense is amazing. They've been lit up by Jalen Hurts each time in the Super Bowl. You can't understate that. And speaking of this offensive prowess, we got to talk about Kellen Moore real quick. Kellen Moore is set to become the Saints head coach. I ain't mad at it. I'll be consistent. I said if Kellen Moore goes out here and puts together a good game plan and the Eagles win, I don't care if he coaches at Mars. I'm dead serious. I don't care that this man is out here chasing the bag. I'll say this, like, all right, I care. All right, I'm not going to say that. I do. I care that Kellen Moore is going to the Saints, but I'm definitely more content given the fact that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And I get it because for Kellen Moore, he might see what Bobby Slowick went through and be like, you know what? He was a hot coaching candidate, and then his offense had some injuries, and now he don't got a job. And I don't think Kellen Moore, fresh off a Super Bowl win, would get fired. Like, that's just not going to happen. But you never know in this league. And so ultimately he needs that security, and he has the opportunity to double, triple, maybe quadruple his salary right now. And so I can't say, oh, you are shiesty and all this stuff, or really salt him for it. Now, it definitely feels better given the fact that the Eagles won, and I can be like, hey, you feel me? Like, hey, we champions. Go to Mars, bro. I don't care. You feel me? Like, go to Mars. I don't care. So ultimately, that's what it is. I mean, I think in terms of replacements, they're talking about Kevin Patsullo, the passing game coordinator. I think he's good, and we're going to have more conversations on him. I would prefer, I would say this, I would prefer somebody that they're in-house. They're in-house, and they've known just how the shop runs from the inside in versus somebody from the outside that has their own philosophy and has to be integrated in the system. I would rather have somebody who's already in the building, and it can be more of a seamless transition. Now, I still believe with the Eagles' offensive talent and all these weapons, if you're just competent as an offensive coordinator, this offense will put up crazy numbers. You still got Smitty and AJ and this offensive line locked up. You got Lane Johnson coming back. You got Jordan Mailata. You got Cam Jurgens, Land Dickerson. You got Saquon Barkley. Do I think that he'll have the same season as last year? I don't know, but I know that he'll still be an elite running back. Elite running back. So all that being said, am I worried? I'm not worried. Is it a little bit annoying? Yeah, but it feels a little bit sweeter just because like we won the bowl. We won the bowl. Kellen Moore, tip your cap. I appreciate you. I mean, look, Kellen Moore is part of this. Kellen Moore's offense scored the most combined points in a conference championship and Super Bowl combined. And the 95 points that they scored is the most in the NFL postseason history in a 2-game span. 2-game span. And so ultimately, bro, like this is something that we definitely can't sneeze at. It's definitely something that we can't sneeze at. And Kellen Moore left, but he left on the highest high note. He ain't do a Jonathan Gannon on us. So I gotta just give him credit and wish him the best of luck. I'm gonna go back to this defense real quick because there's some guys that we gotta just shout out and really just show our love to. This Eagles defensive line is young, it's hungry, and it's gonna be here for a long time. You're talking about 8.5 sacks in the postseason from players 23 or younger. That's the most ever. That's the most ever. Nolan Smith, 4 sacks. Jalen Carter, 2 sacks. Jalix Hunt, 1.5 sacks. Moro Jomo, 1 sack. They're all 23. All 23. And then Jordan Davis and Milton Williams each had 2. You know, Davis is 24 years old. Williams is 25 years old. So this is a extremely young defensive line that's going to keep getting better and better and better. I'm looking at it like this. This is the worst this Eagles defensive line is going to be. That's scary. The whole league should be scared because Jalen Carter is going to keep getting better. Nolan Smith is going to keep getting better. Jordan Davis is going to keep getting better. Jalix Hunt is going to keep getting better. He's only a rookie. With the quarterbacks, we know that Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are going to keep getting better, and they made history too. Quinyon and Coop, both recording interceptions in the playoffs, become the first team to have 2 rookies record their first interception in the postseason since 1995. I'll say it again. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell both recording an interception in the playoffs is the first time since 1995 with the Bills. So you're talking about a young nucleus in the secondary, that young nucleus in the defensive line. That's going to keep getting better and better and better over time. Now, what's our OG there? Our OG, Josh Sweat. We got to talk about how Josh Sweat performed his best game on the highest stage. We got to talk about that. I'm sorry. Like, we really have to talk about how Josh Sweat, in the biggest game of his career, had his best game of his career. He had 2.5 sacks, 6 quarterback pressures. He joins an exclusive group of 10 players to record 2 sacks or more in the Super Bowl. And he very well could have won Super Bowl MVP. Matter of fact, that whole defense could have won Super Bowl MVP. But Josh Sweat, in that one game, literally got himself at least $15 million more dollars. Now, you got other guys like Sam Darnold in big moments, they're losing money. But there's guys like Josh Sweat in big moments, they're going out here and, getting that money, getting that money, getting that money. Last thing before I head off and all that stuff, Avonte Maddox deserves some love, bro. He deserves some love. Let's be honest, Philly. We have been giving him a hard time. And he subbed in for Cooper DeJean, had that amazing pass breakup, and that's the beauty of Philly. We going to support you, when you do your job. We don't care about the past. And with Avonte Maddox, he's been a really good player for the Eagles, except for some injuries that kind of derailed his career a little bit. But he's always been a really good player for the Eagles. And it's so freaking cool that in the Super Bowl, this man, when his number was called, when Cooper DeJean was out for a little bit, he stepped up. That's amazing, bro. And that's a credit to coaching. That's a credit to Vic Fangio, Christian Parker, and the amazing work that they've done with this defense and especially this passing defense. But Avonte Maddox, man, gotta tip my cap. I don't got no cap, but I gotta just salute you, brother, because you flat out did your thing in the biggest moments, bro. You did your thing in the biggest moments. And I said this in my first reaction. I'll say it again, bro. It's not a coincidence that the Eagles have their only Super Bowl championships with Brandon Graham playing for them. Brandon Graham has 2 rings with the Eagles. Those are the only rings that the Eagles have in franchise history. That's not a coincidence. Brandon Graham is literally the epitome of what it means to be a Philadelphia athlete. Bro, Brandon Graham is the epitome of what it means to be a Philadelphia sports athlete, bro. That's what it means to be, because he wasn't great off rip. He had to learn. He had to go ahead and develop. But the beauty of it was the Eagles stuck with him, just like how they stuck with Nolan Smith, just like how they stuck with Jordan Davis, just like how they stuck with these young players on their defensive line that have now become some young superstars in this league and will tear this league up for years to come. It is not a coincidence that with Brandon Graham's leadership and with Brandon Graham's talent, that this Eagles team has their only Super Bowls in franchise history. Brandon Graham deserves a statue. Brandon Graham deserves a statue, coming back less than 3 months, 3 months, 2.5 months after a torn tricep to play in the game. Oh my gosh, talk about heart. Talk about that dog mentality. Talk about hunting. Brandon Graham deserves his flowers, man. He deserves his flowers. Again, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. It is Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where y'all know we always keep it real. Hey, man, man, we're going to go up with this content and we're not going to let up. Let us go crazy.